Ignored for 30 years while my golden brother lived off $130,000 in inheritance. He tried to destroy my career, so I took him down with evidence. I spent 30 years being invisible. While my golden boy brother enjoyed a $130,000 inheritance, he was busy trying to sabotage my career. So, I gathered the receipts and brought him down. I'm Isaac. I'm 32 now. For as long as I can remember, I felt like a background character in a story that was all about my older brother, Noah. From the moment he arrived, it was like the world handed him a crown, and me? I was just there to carry his cape. He was the favorite, the firstborn, the one our parents thought deserved the absolute best, and they made sure he got it. I used to chalk it up to how our parents were raised or maybe something about our culture. Your brother's the oldest, my mom would say, like it was some kind of magic spell that excused every unfair thing. My dad didn't even sugarcoat it, once told me straight. You'll get it when you have kids. The first one's special. I didn't get it then, and honestly I still don't. But I learned pretty quick not to ask questions. Instead I just got smaller. Quieter. I got used to hand-me-downs, missed birthdays, and second-rate hugs. When our grandparents passed away, I had this tiny hope that maybe, just maybe, the pattern would break and I'd finally matter. But nope, nothing changed. Noah got the house, the same one where our grandma used to rock us to sleep, the garden still blooming with the roses she planted when we were just kids. He also got the savings account Grandpa always said was for the boys' futures. Even Grandma's old jewelry box, the one she once told me should go to me because I was the one who took care of sentimental things, went to him. Turns out, her words didn't mean a thing. I wasn't even mentioned in the will. Not even for that beat-up old cuckoo clock I used to stare at while calling for Grandma on Saturday mornings. What hurt the most wasn't even the stuff, it was how nobody seemed to care. My parents didn't bother hiding their favoritism anymore. He has responsibilities, my mom would say, like managing a house he didn't clean or handling money he didn't earn made him some kind of hero. He's the one who'll carry on the family name. My dad said one Thanksgiving, while Noah sipped his fourth whiskey sour like royalty. It felt like they were trying to build some kind of family dynasty, and I was just a backup plan in case Golden Boy failed. So I packed up and left. Quietly. No screaming match. No dramatic farewell. I landed a tech support job in a new city, worked hard, kept things simple, and held on to everything I earned. Nobody really noticed I was gone. Nobody reached out. At Christmas, I got the usual mass text from the family group chat. My mom once sent me a thumbs-up emoji for my birthday. Send it a day late, too. Real thoughtful. At first, I didn't feel bitter, I just adapted. I learned how to live low-key. Meanwhile, Noah was out there living it up. Now and then, when curiosity got the better of me, I'd peek at his social media. There he was, lounging at rooftop bars, poolside in Vegas, always smiling with a new girlfriend every few months. At one point, he even tried launching a podcast about crypto and entrepreneurship. It flopped after 4 episodes. He recorded them in Grandma's old living room, surrounded by family heirlooms he clearly knew nothing about. I watched maybe 15 minutes of one episode before I clicked out, thinking, that house is going to fall apart under him. Not long after that, the phone calls started. Mom was the first, her tone cheerful and breezy. Hey sweetheart, just wondering if you've thought about coming home for Easter. Noah would love to see you. He's going through a rough time, and we need someone responsible around. I didn't respond. Then Dad gave it a shot, laying on the guilt. Family's all we've got, son. Don't let grudges ruin that. I wanted to say, you ruined it. But instead, I let silence do the talking. Then came the group video call. Noah popped up on the screen, looking drained and trying to muster a smile. Bro, he said, half laughing. I miss you, man. Then he asked, still got that apartment in the city? Might swing by next week to catch up. What he didn't mention was that he'd already sold Grandma's house 2 months earlier to pay off his business debts. Or that his girlfriend had cleaned out his bank account before walking out the door. But I knew. My cousin Lena spilled it all in a late-night DM. Don't say I told you, she warned. But your brother's living in a hotel and begging people for loans. Still, I didn't say a word. I let the silence hang heavy. It said more than any insult ever could. 3 weeks later, I came home one night and found him waiting outside my apartment. He looked like a ghost, sunken face, red eyes, and clothes that hadn't seen a washing machine in days. The Noah I remembered, the one who used to flick the back of my ear and call me, kiddo, was gone. This version of him was just empty. No charm. No games. He just said, I didn't know where else to go. His voice cracked halfway through. I'm in trouble, Danny. And that? That was the first time in years Dad had said my name, Isaac, not bro, not dude, not kiddo. I stood there frozen in the doorway. Some small, younger part of me was still hoping my big brother would finally do the right thing. I wanted to let him in. Give him a blanket, a hot meal, maybe even a piece of the peace I'd worked so hard to build. But then I remembered sitting on the steps after Grandma's funeral, hearing him joke with his buddies about flipping the house. I remembered watching Dad hand Noah a check, straight out of my college fund, the one they said was wiped out in the recession, so Noah could start something big. I just need a little help, Noah muttered, rubbing his eyes. Somewhere to stay. Just for a while. I swear I'll pay you back. I've got a plan. That line hit me like a punch to the gut. I've got a plan. He always had a plan. And it always ended with someone else cleaning up the mess. My hand tightened around the doorframe. I looked him in the face. Same smug expression that never paid the price for anything. The same look that inherited everything I was supposed to have. I didn't yell. I didn't even raise my voice. Funny, I said. That's exactly what you left me with. His eyes blinked. Confused at first. Then he got it. And something else crossed his face I couldn't quite name. Maybe it was shame. Or maybe just plain awkwardness. Either way, I didn't stick around to figure it out. I took a step back and closed the door. Looking through the peephole, I watched him stand there for a second, then slowly turn and shuffle toward a waiting Uber. No bags. No hope. No plans to come back. But what happened next? That's when things really started to unravel. Because shutting the door? That was just the opening act. The real fallout was on its way. The next morning, I got a text from my mom. Just one line. I heard what happened last night. Call me. No. How are you? No. Good morning. Just a cold, heavy sentence stuffed with all the unspoken guilt and pressure she knew how to dish out. I sat there staring at it, drinking coffee that had gone cold, and wondering how fast Noah had run crying back to her. I didn't reply. 2 hours later, her name lit up on my screen. I let it ring. Then it rang again. I hit silent. Then came the voicemail. Isaac, it's your mother. I don't know what's gotten into you, but Noah is your brother. Family helps each other, especially when one of us is down. I expect a call back. The irony nearly made me laugh. Since when did this family help each other? I stayed quiet the rest of the day, buried in work with my phone flipped over. Later that night, I checked my email and saw a subject line. Family meeting, Sunday at 3 p.m. It came from Dad and was sent to all four of us, him, Mom, Noah, and me. At first, I wasn't going to open it. But curiosity got the better of me. It read like something out of a corporate HR memo, cold, formal, and stiff. Like he forgot how to be a father and remembered how to write a business proposal. We're going to settle this like adults. This family can't continue with cold shoulders and division. Your brother needs support. We're hoping you'll be reasonable. I stared at that last word. Reasonable. Until it blurred. They thought it was reasonable to hand Noah the house while I slept on a twin mattress in a dorm room and worked late shifts just to cover rent. Reasonable was how they justified blowing the family savings on Noah's garbage app startup, while telling me they couldn't even afford a plane ticket to visit after I moved out. Noah stole Grandma's ring, the one she told me to keep for someone special someday, and handed it to some girl he'd only been seeing for 3 months. But now, suddenly, I was supposed to be the reasonable one. Still, I paused. I wasn't completely cold. I didn't want to hold on to anger forever. There was still a small part of me hoping they'd realize how badly they'd messed up. That, just once, they'd admit they were wrong and acknowledge that I'd been treated like I didn't matter. So I went. Sunday rolled around and I drove 2 hours back to my hometown. The house looked exactly the same. Same crumbling stone mailbox out front. Same rusty swing set in the backyard, the one that hadn't moved since we were kids. I heard the same wind chimes I used to fall asleep to, clinking softly in the breeze. But the air felt heavier. Different. When I stepped inside, Mom greeted me with one of those tight, practiced smiles. Dad was already sitting at the dining table, but not in his usual chair. That was the first sign this was supposed to be official. Noah sat across from him, hunched over, wearing a hoodie pulled low like he was trying to disappear inside it. His face looked more sunken than usual. He didn't look up. Thanks for coming. Dad said, motioning toward the empty seat beside him. Mom brought out iced tea, like this was just another Sunday afternoon chat. I wasn't in the mood. Let's skip the pleasantries, I said. You asked me here to talk, so talk. Dad cleared his throat and clasped his hands together. Noah's made some mistakes. He admits that. But shutting the door in his face, that's not how we handle things in this family. That's not who we are. I raised an eyebrow. We? I said. You mean the same we that gave him everything and left me to figure it out alone? Mom's smile froze like a glitch in her face. Dad flinched but kept going. He's the eldest, Isaac. He had more weight on his shoulders. We did what we thought was right. And now? I leaned forward. Now you want me to clean up the mess you allowed him to make? They both went quiet. Mom sat down, her voice soft. He doesn't even have a car anymore. He's been crashing on couches, Isaac. He had a house, I said. He sold it. He had money, burned through it. He had grandma's jewelry, property, savings, and he blew it all on parties, women, and dumb crypto bets. Don't tell me he has nothing. He made that choice. Noah finally lifted his head. His voice was raspy. I screwed up, okay? I know I don't deserve anything. But I just need a place to crash. A lead on a job. Something. I stared at him for a moment. There was desperation in his voice I'd never heard before. The Noah I knew never begged. He'd make jokes, brush things off, call me names if I didn't help. But this version of him? He was hollow. I got to where I am on my own, I told him. No trust fund. No help from anyone. I worked while I studied. Lived in a shoebox apartment. Spent years fixing printers and getting screamed at by customers, while you flew first class to Ibiza. I know, he said quietly. I know I don't deserve it, Dan, I just... He trailed off, and Dad jumped in to finish for him. We're asking you, son, as a family. Can't you help him out? I looked around at all three of them, and suddenly it hit me. They weren't really asking for help. They were asking for another sacrifice, from me. Again. Dressed up in guilt, iced tea, and words like, family values. I stood up. I don't owe you anything, I said. Not after you spent years pretending I didn't exist. You gave him everything. Now you can live with that decision. I turned toward Noah. You blew through your inheritance chasing a good time. I built a peaceful life with nothing. I'm not going to throw it away for old time's sake. Mom's eyes started to well up. Dad looked like he wanted to say something, but no words came. Noah just nodded, like for the first time, he finally got it. I walked out without another word. No yelling. No door slamming. Just the sound of my sneakers on the hardwood floor, and three people frozen in the wreckage they'd made. But that wasn't the end. Not even close. Because I didn't know Noah wasn't done yet. And his next move? It was going to take this family drama to a whole new level, one none of us saw coming. A week passed. I figured that was it. No more calls. No more voicemails. The silence felt like a gift. Like maybe, finally, my absence had been acknowledged. I poured myself into work, tidied up my place, and leaned into the little routines that had always kept me grounded growing up. I didn't check the family group chat. I didn't check Noah's social media. I didn't care what he was up to, at least, not until I got a call from HR at work. Isaac, my boss said, sounding uneasy and just a little apologetic. We got a strange message through our general inbox. He paused, then added, someone sent in an anonymous tip saying you faked your qualifications when we hired you. Claimed your degree was bogus. My stomach dropped like a brick. What? I asked, my voice coming out sharper than I intended. That's not true. I didn't think so, he replied. Everything checked out when we hired you. Your credentials are solid. But this email, it came with a long message. Real personal details too, your home address, your mom's maiden name, even the last 4 digits of your old bank account. It didn't take a detective to piece it together. Only 3 people in the world had access to that specific mix of information. And 2 of them were sitting at that dining table last Sunday. It was Noah. He'd gone low, real low. Like a man drowning, dragging anyone nearby down with him just to get one more breath. When the begging didn't work, he went straight for sabotage. I sat at my desk, hands numb, heart thudding like a drum inside my chest. It wasn't just a cheap shot, it was invasive. Filthy. He didn't just cross a line. He used our family history as ammo to try and tear down everything I'd built for myself. I opened my email, And sure enough, there it was. The sender was an anonymous Gmail account with a clunky subject line. I clicked it open and clenched my jaw as I read through the message. "This man has a history of lying," it started. "He manipulated his family into giving him money and then cut them off when they needed help. Ask him why he changed his last name when he moved. Ask him why no one in his family talks to him anymore." There were attachments. Old photos from my college days. One showed me sitting at a desk surrounded by invoices. Another was a blurry scan of a half-completed transcript from the community college I left before transferring. Nothing in them proved anything, but they were enough to cast doubt. Just enough to make someone start asking questions. The email closed with a single line. "You don't know who you hired." I didn't even realize I was shaking until my hand slipped and I dropped the mouse. I called my manager back immediately. He told me the message had already been flagged and dismissed. He reassured me that the company didn't entertain baseless, anonymous accusations. But he added something else. "You might want to deal with whatever's going on at home," he said gently. "Because whoever sent that, they're not finished." When the call ended, I just sat there staring out the window. The skyline of the city I'd worked so hard to make my home now felt far away, like it belonged to someone else. Even my apartment felt smaller, like it had shrunk under the weight of this mess. I thought about how I should have blocked Noah the second he showed up at my door. But instead I let guilt steer the wheel. I went to that family meeting, like it was a peace negotiation. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. And this was how he repaid it. He was trying to ruin everything I'd built just because I told him no. I dug out my old external hard drive, one I hadn't touched in years. It was packed with old files, backups of emails, receipts, photos. And I started digging. Not out of fear, but because I was finished playing defense. See, when you grow up overlooked, you develop a habit. You start paying attention. You start remembering things people assume you'll forget. You file away what others treat like background noise. And Noah? He'd made plenty of mistakes. Not just with money. I remembered helping him write a few emails back in the day. One was to the angry father of a girl who said Noah had been pressuring her for money. Another was to some shady crypto website, bragging about using family assets to fund risky investments. I had screenshots. I had chat logs. I even had a folder titled Marketing LLC, a fake company Noah created to land a business loan. Inside was a doctored bank statement I'd found on an old flash drive years ago. I never kept any of that stuff out of revenge. I just never got around to deleting it. But suddenly, I realized I had everything I needed. And I wasn't going to stoop to his level. No anonymous tips. No sneaky tactics. I was going to do it the right way. I was going to show him exactly what it feels like when the person you wrote off turns into the one person you can't ignore. I wrote a professional, clear letter. Each accusation backed by hard evidence. Each paragraph structured like an official report. Then I sent it. Not to my job. To the bank he scammed when he filed for that phony business loan. I recognized the name from the old documents. Harborview Bank. I didn't hide behind fake names or burner emails. I signed it with my full name. If Noah wanted a fight, he'd get one. But I wasn't hiding anymore. A month went by. No word. Then, one rainy Tuesday morning, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was a woman from Harborview Bank's fraud division. "Hi, is this Eli Morgan?" she asked. "Yes," I answered. "I just wanted to confirm. You're the one who submitted the documentation about Caleb Morgan and the 2021 loan filed under Marketing LLC?" I sat up straighter. "Yes, that was me." There was a pause. The kind that carries weight. "Thank you," she said. "Your documentation was very thorough. We've had a soft flag on that account for nearly a year. We couldn't take action until now." She didn't say much else, probably couldn't for legal reasons. But I could hear it in her voice. Things were already moving. When I hung up, I just stared at the screen for a while. I hadn't felt this calm in years. Not numb, just still. Like I'd finally stepped out of a storm everyone else kept pretending was just a sunny day. 3 days later, I got a text from my cousin Lena. It was a screenshot. The image showed Noah being led out of what looked like a hotel lobby by 2 plainclothes officers. Underneath it, she'd written, "He's under investigation, bank fraud, identity misrepresentation, loan default. Your dad is furious." I stared at it for a long time. It barely even registered. The same guy who used to mock the system while sipping cocktails had finally lost the game. But here's the thing, I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel smug. I just felt done. A few days after Noah's arrest, my mom called. I let it go straight to voicemail. This time, her voice didn't sound like it usually did, no sharpness, no polish, just tired and worn out. "Isaac," she said, "I don't know what's going on. Your dad's been pacing around the house like he's lost his mind." She went on, her voice unsteady. "They're saying Noah might have used forged documents. The bank keeps calling. We had no idea. We didn't know he was doing anything like this." Then there was a pause. The kind that means something's coming. "I know you're upset. I know we've hurt you," she said quietly. "But please don't destroy him. He's still your brother." It would have been so easy to call her back. To unload everything, decades of being the second choice, forgotten birthdays, college dreams flushed away while they funneled every dime toward Noah. I could have asked where all this worry was when I was working overnight shifts and eating stale cereal while he took vacations and got bailouts. But I didn't. Because none of that mattered anymore. I blocked her number. Then I blocked my father's too. After that, I left the family group chat for good. Then I went a step further. I deleted the old email chains, photos, texts, everything I'd kept thinking it was some kind of legacy. But it wasn't a legacy. It was just a record of the life they told me I was supposed to want. When the news broke, it didn't just spread, it exploded across our small town. The headlines were loud and brutal. "Local man charged in $130,000 business loan fraud scheme." The article listed a handful of fake businesses. Marketing LLC, Sun S Solutions, Reyes Holdings. That last one made me laugh. Reyes Holdings. Like he was trying to build a knockoff empire using a name he didn't even respect. People he scammed were quoted. A gym owner said he never got paid. A college kid said she worked for him on commission but never saw a dime. A woman said she lent him $3,000 for a so-called business trip that never happened. One line stood out. "He talked like he had everything figured out. Like helping him was doing me a favor. I should have known it was all smoke." The fallout was immediate. The bank froze what was left of his account. His crypto investments had tanked months ago. The car? Repossessed. Turns out it was leased, not owned. His last known place was a month-to-month sublet. He hadn't paid rent in 6 weeks. And those so-called friends of his? Gone. All of them. The guys from Vegas, the ones in the rooftop pool selfies, the ones hashtagging #grindset and #hustle, they vanished. Nobody showed up. Even when his mugshot hit the internet, his social media stayed quiet. No comments. No support. No defense. Just silence. Lena texted me with another update. My parents had tried taking out a second mortgage to pay for a defense attorney. But they were denied. They'd already put the house up as collateral for one of Noah's game-changer startups. Turns out, they didn't even own the deed anymore. One last update came from Lena before I asked her to stop sending them. "They're selling the jewelry," she said. "Grandma's necklace, the ring, even the old brooch." I sat with that for a bit. Not because I wanted any of it. Not out of revenge. But in that moment, something hit me. My parents had spent 30 years pouring everything into one son, and watched him set it all on fire. And they spent those same 30 years ignoring the other. The steady one. The quiet one. They treated me like an afterthought. And now their golden child was just dust. And the shadow? He had built a life. 3 months passed. Then 4. One day, I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting. It was from Noah. The letter was messy and barely a full page. He wrote, "I know what you did. And I don't blame you. I hate what I've become. I'm scared. I don't expect forgiveness. But if you ever feel like talking, I'm here. I've got nowhere else to go." I folded the letter and slid it back into the envelope. Then I placed it in a drawer I hadn't touched in years, the one with old receipts, loose keys, stuff I never threw away but never looked at either. Then I shut the drawer. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I was carrying someone else's mess. I didn't write back. I didn't tell anyone I'd gotten the letter. I didn't reply at all. I just stood up, walked to the kitchen, poured myself a drink, and stared out at the skyline. The one I'd built completely on my own. No inheritance. No leg-ups. Just grit, persistence, and the memories I learned to live with. And the slow, difficult process of choosing peace. Even when it meant leaving family behind. And you know what? That was enough.